It's strange how a single moment can snowball into an avalanche of feelings and confusion. Hi, I'm Mia, and I found myself in a tangled web of emotions and friendships recently. It all started with a simple request that spiraled out of control. So here's the question that haunted me for days. Eta for not giving my friend drawing lessons? Let's rewind a bit. I've always been the artistic type, the friend you'd call if you needed a birthday card decorated, or a poster for school that would stand out. I'm not trying to brag, it's just something I've been good at for as long as I can remember. My friend, let's call her Ava, has always looked up to me in this regard. The irony is that I think she looked up to me a little too much. Ava and I go way back. We met in 5th grade when our teacher paired us together for a project. I distinctly remember her bright yellow backpack and how her face lit up when I showed her my colored pencils. From that moment on, Ava seemed determined to mirror my every move. New boots? She bought the same ones in a different color the next week. Oddly enough, she even gravitated toward my favorite color, pink, although she once claimed purple was her go-to. It felt like I was living in a quirky episode of a sitcom where my life was somehow contagious. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. We were FaceTiming, and I noticed Ava getting frustrated with her drawings. She was following Pinterest tutorials and venting about not being able to replicate the artwork. Each time something didn't go as planned, it was like unleashing a mini storm. She would grumble, let out little exasperated breaths, and I couldn't help but roll my eyes. My annoyance was a mix of frustration and sympathy for her struggle. I knew it was tough to learn something new, but I wouldn't consider myself a teacher. I had spent years developing my skills. Could I really impart that onto someone so different? Then came the day we met up for breakfast, and she saw my sketchbook. "Can you teach me how to draw like that?" she asked, with those eager eyes that really knew how to tug at my heartstrings. I hesitated, torn between wanting to help and the reality of my patience running thin. But then I thought, why not? I handed her one of my expensive pencils, which, let's be real, I expected to get back. Spoiler alert, I didn't. As we settled down to draw, my enthusiasm started to wane. When I showed her a character from my sketchbook, she immediately threw her hands up for help. "Can you draw the body for me?" I sighed but complied, thinking maybe she needed a little nudge. The moment I began to lay down the lines, I felt an uneasy weight settle in. When she erased my lines in frustration, resulting in tears and a ruined paper, I knew this wasn't going well. "Maybe let's try something simpler," I suggested, pointing to a colorful doodle in my sketchbook. As we worked side by side, I noticed her getting increasingly irritated. "The final straw? Can you draw the smiley faces for me?" My heart sank. I felt like a teacher wrestling with a pupil who just didn't understand the lesson. I want to help, but there's a process to learning, isn't there? If I do that, then you're just going to end up doing the letters. You need to learn on your own. I tried to sound encouraging, but I could see the storm clouds appearing in her eyes. Before I even finished my drawing, she erupted. "You're so rude," she cried, slamming her pencil down, tearing the page out of the book, and storming away, with my pencil clutched in her fist. I left the cafe that day feeling hollow. Everyone says friendships are a two-way street, but I really felt like I'd been hit by a car. Later that evening, I received a message from S, another friend of Ava's, someone I had a rocky relationship with anyway. S had heard from Ava that I was gatekeeping my artistic process. I couldn't believe it. I tried to teach her, but she got frustrated and left. I texted back, detailing our interaction. At the end of the day, it felt like I was being painted as the villain in a story where I was just trying to help. As days stretched on, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd somehow let Ava down. I replayed the scene over and over in my head, dissecting where I went wrong. Was I too harsh? Should I have just drawn the faces for her? Maybe I should have focused more on encouragement instead of insisting she handle everything independently. I reached out to Ava, but her replies were curt and distant, like we were passing ships in a fog. A part of me craved reassurance, a sign that we could move past this, but it felt like a door I'd kicked open had slammed shut. In the end, I sat there lost in contemplation, wrestling with my feelings of guilt and frustration. I wanted to reach out and clear the air, but would that just come off as me being defensive? So I throw this question back at you. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have given in and drawn for her? Or would you have done exactly what I did? Ida for not wanting to give away my artistic secrets? Or am I just a misunderstood friend trying to figure out this complicated bond? I'd love to hear what you think.